My name is Alli Hogan, and I'm a Business Intelligence and Analytics Consultant here at Thorogood. You can also feel free to get in touch with me via my contact details here on the screen. Before we get into today's agenda, I'd like to outline a couple of objectives for today's short session. Overall, we'd like to introduce you to our methodology for creating business-driven, impactful dashboards. And we'll do this by going through the methodology step by step, highlighting some customer examples along the way. This will be the majority of our presentation, after which we'll conclude with some considerations for getting started. Before we jump in, I'll give a brief introduction to Thorogood, and then I'll share our approach for iterative dashboard development. For those of you who don't know Thorogood, we are an independent, global, professional services firm specializing in business intelligence and analytics strategies, solutions, and services, with a keen focus on our customers. We are a global company with offices in New York, Philadelphia, London, Bangalore, Singapore, and Sao Paulo, Brazil. All of our consultants are recruited and trained in the same way to develop a unique mix of skills, blending business understanding in the form of industry and functional expertise with strong technical aptitude and a deep understanding of analytical tools and techniques. We offer a full range of BI and analytics services, including strategy and roadmaps, requirements, design, implementation, and training and support. Our clients typically span 4 data-rich verticals: consumer goods, pharmaceutical and health services, banking, and insurance. Our clients are some of the leading organizations in these sectors, and we take a lot of pride in the long-standing relationships we have fostered with some of the names you see here. These organizations are large, complex businesses, and we rely on our thorough business understanding and deep technical expertise to deliver successful solutions to their business challenges. In terms of the technologies we work with, we are an independent consulting firm, meaning we don't work with just one specific technology. We do, however, work and partner with many of the key players across the market in order to provide our clients with a solution that best suits their needs. So, now that we've reviewed our brief introduction, let's get into the meat of our presentation, our approach to creating business-driven, impactful dashboards. To position our approach, we thought it would make sense to first ask the question, why bother? As in, why bother with the methodology for creating impactful dashboards? This is a good question and something we're often asked by our customers, especially because it's not particularly difficult to find some cheap dashboard developers. To outline why it's worth considering your approach to creating dashboards, I'm going to talk through several outcomes one could and should hope to achieve when evaluating your approach to creating analytic dashboards. First, we have adoption. Of course, central to any BI investment is the goal for people to use the tools and dashboards that are created. Not surprisingly, this is something that many organizations struggle with. Second, and some may say a byproduct of adoption, is more informed users. I've listed this here as a second goal because while adoption will drive success here, this also relies on your dashboards to actually provide value. Dashboards that don't meet a business goal won't leave anyone more informed. Next, we have more efficient business processes. People can expect this change as a result of investing in informative and well-received dashboards. Such dashboards will allow everyone using them to be better at their job, and for the business as a whole to become more efficient. Next, we have realizing your technology investment. This is often a concern of IT or those owning the licenses and infrastructure costs of a technology investment. The quickest way to justify such investments in technology is with valuable and impactful outcomes that people are eager to use. Following realization technology investment, we have faster and cheaper costs to implement. Here, we are referring to the initial and ongoing investment to create and maintain dashboards. Any approach you choose should be flexible and fast, adapting with the business. Spending weeks and high cost to add a field to a table, for example, won't work with anyone using the platform. And finally, we have better decision-making, which is really at the core of each of these results. Ultimately, this is why anyone chooses to invest in business intelligence solutions, to drive better decision-making across the entire organization. Underpinning our approach to creating impactful dashboards is our approach to all business intelligence and analytics engagements. Specifically, we place critical focus on understanding the business goals and aligning that understanding to the technical possibilities. With this alignment, we are able to work collaboratively with our customers to realize the true value of your business intelligence and analytics investments. In terms of our topic today, understanding the business goals in order to create impactful dashboards is, of course, vital. Too many times we see companies investing in BI solutions just for the sake of picking up a hot new technology, but without any real business goal in mind. Aligning your business goals to the technical possibilities will ensure that you aren't missing the point with your BI and analytics projects. Stemming from our core principles after years of working on BI projects and refining our approaches, we've developed our unique methodology for creating business-driven, impactful dashboards. We'll spend time today discussing each of the steps in more detail over the next few slides, but at a high level, we start by identifying a use case and organizing what we call an inspiration session. After this workshop, a first draft is created and quickly shared with the key stakeholders. Rapid iterations of feedback and dashboard changes allow for the incorporation of feedback from the business users to produce actionable insights while following the key dashboard principles and keeping up engagement with the users. Before the fun of developing a dashboard can begin, it's crucial to identify and prioritize a candidate use case or two for this approach and assemble the key stakeholders who should be involved throughout the process. The approach relies on early input from key business users to influence the design and development of the final report, so it's important to identify the proper audience for the initial inspiration session and further feedback sessions. For example, a dashboard for U.S. supply chain users should take input from heads of various manufacturing sites and warehouses within the network to influence the analytics and dashboards required for them to run their business more efficiently. In addition, this phase may involve a tool selection exercise to decide on the appropriate visualization tool best suited to fit the user needs within your organization. Here, you may be debating between Tableau, Click, Power BI, or something else altogether. Each tool selection decision is unique and should be made while considering the people, tools, data, and processes that already exist within your organization. If you're interested in the conversation about when to use certain tools, please reach out to me and I'd be happy to discuss this topic in more detail. Next, the inspiration session is an initial workshop where we bring together the key business and IT stakeholders to discuss the vision and purpose for the dashboard. The session usually starts with a business user explaining a key problem and how reporting and visualizations can help answer the key questions they're faced with on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis. A discussion on the business goals for the dashboard helps shape a collective understanding of what success looks like between all participants of the meeting. Then, the fun begins, and everyone is invited to share their ideas and brainstorm the design of the reports and dashboards. This may involve reviewing existing reports that are used, mocking up charts in Excel, or even sharing interesting visualizations from online articles or web pages. There are many community forums like Tableau Public and the Power BI Partner Showcase that can be used to get the creative juices flowing. As expert BI and analytics consultants, we will pull on the collective experience of our company to bring together ideas and anonymous screenshots from previous projects we've worked on where the visualizations were particularly impactful. By the end of the session, all participants agree on the next steps and have a good sense of the purpose and key objectives of the dashboard. In addition to the front-end design, it's important to start to consider the data sources and identify key fields that are required for the development of the first draft of the dashboards. While we can't go into detail around a specific inspiration session due to the confidentiality around customer use cases, we thought it might be valuable to give you a sense of what an inspiration session might look like. As I mentioned, the inspiration session is meant to bring together a variety of different ideas and views to create a shared understanding of the business goals for a particular use case, as well as share what's technically possible. We'll typically achieve this by pulling from a variety of sources, as well as whiteboarding different ideas live within the session. In the above example, we've collected several different samples into a PowerPoint deck to help facilitate the session. Within the sample deck, we'll first start with an introduction to the inspiration session, in which we'll review our methodology, much like we're doing today. Next, we've collected several report examples from the customer. These examples are meant to give a flavor of the types of questions a team may be looking to answer. These samples will likely not be in the tools we're looking to you. Perhaps it's a local Excel file that one person has or a PDF report that's emailed out to a large number of people. But ahead of the session, depending on what we've received from the project team, we'll draw out the key metrics, dimensions, or visuals that help to provide value. We'll also encourage participants to bring their own content to the session, which wouldn't be listed here. Next, we've collected several report examples from the customer. These examples are meant to give a flavor of the types of questions a team may be looking to answer. These samples will likely not be in the tools we're looking to you. Perhaps it's a local Excel file that one person has or a PDF report that's emailed out to a large number of people. Next, we have some relevant anonymized project examples. These are examples of what we've brought from other projects. Over our vast experience, we've been through several different iterative dashboard cycles, and the various results from these cycles help shed light on the art of the possible. Lastly, we have some examples from Tableau Public and the Wall Street Journal. As we mentioned, public sites may also provide valuable examples for an inspiration session. When considering the business function or an identified use case, our project teams will investigate current events as well as what is available on the web to help inspire our business users. Some users have even said things like, oh, can we make this look more like Google? Or I really like the user experience of Amazon. And it's all fair game during this initial inspiration session. After collecting and compiling the ideas and notes from the inspiration session, we'll then begin working on the first draft of the dashboards in the chosen front-end tool. The goal is to keep momentum with the business users and create the first draft with a relatively short development cycle using sample data. Of course, the actual development time will be dependent upon dashboard complexity, data availability, and the chosen tools. But the intent is to translate the inspiration session ideas into a working prototype to be used as the basis for ongoing feedback sessions. Leaders in the visualization software space, like Tableau and Power BI, allow for rapid results to shorten the investment time required to get to that first draft. As I mentioned, the first draft is usually done on a sample data set to allow for focus on creating powerful visualizations rather than getting bogged down by database development or data validation. For example, tools like Tableau and Power BI allow for connecting to sample data extracts in Excel to more quickly create something that people can provide feedback on. Then, in parallel to the front-end iteration, the required back-end development can be completed to surface the required data elements based on the reporting needs. This approach ensures that any back-end development is done for a purpose, i.e., done in alignment with the reporting needs to reduce the risk of long, drawn-out database projects with minimal business impact. While the value of a dashboard is certainly realized in the eye of the beholder, when we create dashboards, starting with our first draft, we use visualization principles across the board to ensure that the dashboards we create are grounded in sensible design. These principles also drive the philosophy behind many of the tools we work with, like Tableau and Power BI, so employing these principles with these tools fits pretty well. Clean and intuitive. The best data visualizations show all of the right information and aren't cluttered by anything else that's not relevant. Highlight key messages, trends, issues, and anomalies. Data points that should get attention jump off the screen at the user. For example, using red and green coloring based on the threshold values to highlight things where the business is trending positive or negative. Display metrics and context of relevant comparisons. Metrics are displayed relative to their targets or across data attributes that make them more meaningful to the appropriate audience. Appropriate visualizations make best use of position, size, color, and shape. The right tool for the right job. Graphs can be traditional or trendy, but they need to use all of the variables to make them compelling. Interactivity enhances analysis. The experience of the visualization is important to answer the what and the why. Each data point should be within a few clicks of the mouse. And finally, performance. Performance is consistently identified as one of the key factors of adoption and should be considered throughout the design and the development of the dashboards. After the first draft, we'll host a series of feedback sessions to share the latest versions of the dashboard. We'll collect the feedback and incorporate the changes to further enhance the dashboard, keeping in mind the key visualization principles I just mentioned. As the dashboards come together and the functionality is developed, the users may tweak their initial thoughts or have more ideas on ways to analyze the data. This approach allows time for and even encourages this type of feedback throughout the entire process. Usually, the end result looks drastically different and hopefully better than the initial inspiration session and first draft. We'll facilitate a number of these rapid iteration meetings over a number of weeks to continually refine the dashboards and ensure that it remains aligned to the business goals outlined during the inspiration session. Depending on the changes, Tableau and Power BI dashboards can offer live feedback sessions where the comments are incorporated into the dashboards on the fly during the meeting. Throughout the cycle, the users are able to provide their input and influence the end result of the dashboards, all while building excitement for the final product. In addition, any required data development can be done in parallel behind the scenes, so that when both streams are ready, we just need to repipe the dashboards to the production data sources, and the dashboards are ready to go. Now that we've considered our methodology in detail, I wanted to briefly discuss the scaling out of this approach. As we've discussed, one of the key benefits of our approach is that you are building buy-in as your dashboards are developed. So investing in your inspiration sessions and rapid iterations will not only produce a powerful dashboard, your users will be excited to start using it. That being said, you can also easily scale this approach to working with many teams at once across different use cases. When considering scaling out, it's important to consider the following: business priority and impact. It may be beneficial to take stock of where the highest impact areas are within your business and focus there so that you can more immediately realize the value of impactful dashboards. If you have several high priority areas, considering scaling out with focused groups of business users to service each priority. Next, we have key user availability. This process really works with your key participants having the time to invest in the sessions. So as you scale out this approach, it's important to consider the number and length of inspiration sessions or rapid iterations you will have, as to not tie up too much time from these business leaders. Finally, supporting data development. Particularly with tools like Tableau, you'll need to consider your underlying data sets and how your data needs to be structured to support your dashboards. As I mentioned, you can do this in parallel to the front-end visualizations, but if you have different individuals working on your underlying data structures, you'll need to consider how you manage their workloads so they can adequately support those creating your front-end dashboards. So, we've covered quite a bit here around our unique approach for creating impactful business-driven dashboards, and we hope you can see a variety of benefits to this approach. Let's highlight a few relating this back to some of the key goals we raised when considering your approach to creating impactful dashboards. First, sustained business involvement from the business users promotes user adoption and strong use of your technology investment. As we discussed with our approach, key users will be involved throughout the creation of the dashboard. This involvement will ensure that you are building buy-in as well as an understanding of the solution as the dashboards are created. Second, our inspiration sessions help to focus the dashboards on key business problems driving the biggest value. Rather than guessing on the key business problems, our inspiration sessions will bring together the key business and technology people to drive focus on the most critical business questions for the dashboards to tackle. As we mentioned when considering our key goals, taking weeks and thousands of dollars to add a new field or visualization won't really meet the needs of eager business users. Rapid iterations reduces time and cost to implementation. Finally, business-driven dashboards ensure outputs will be valuable to those making key business decisions. Going back to our fundamental approach to creating business intelligence and analytics solutions, this approach ensures that you aren't missing the point with your projects by focusing on a hot new technology without a clear business goal in mind. Now that we've gone through our approach and some real-life examples, let's talk about some next steps for getting started. So, you may be wondering, well, how do I get started on this journey? Well, we suspect many of you are likely thinking about some specific business users who could benefit from this approach. This is where we recommend getting started, by discussing the key use cases. There are likely many value-add use cases throughout your business, so I suspect you'll have a few to choose from. As you identify your use case, you'll want to determine those who should participate in your inspiration session. Remember, these should be key business stakeholders. You may also need to decide which front-end tool you will use. Lastly, It's worth taking stock of the data you have to support your use cases. If the data is needed to support a specific use case is more readily available, it may make the most sense to get started with that one. Thorogood can help with any aspect of getting started. If you're interested in learning more about this methodology or any specific aspect of using it within your organization, please don't hesitate to reach out. I've put my contact information here on the screen, so please feel free to reach out directly if you're interested in more details. Thanks so much for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your day.